Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Bears on Tap. I'm your host, Brandon Suarez. You can follow me on Twitter at Bdon300. And today I'm joined by my co host, Quintin, at Butkus Stats. It's the late show. We got football this weekend, full training camp slate. Our Bears take on the Chiefs. And now we have football every week until I think like the second week of February, which is the Super Bowl. And then if you're a real football guy, you roll that over into some USFL, XFL to find the sleepers and the diamonds in the rough to bring back to the roster, baby. But we are here. Quentin, how are you today, my guy?
I'm doing good, man. Just anxiously awaiting the real football times.
Yes. I mean, the preseason is shorter now, so the Hall of Fame game is the start of the preseason, and it's de facto week 0. But now there are only 3 weeks in the preseason with the added week in the regular season. I think it's a little interesting for the guys that are like at the end of the roster. You have a little less time to look and find out what they're truly about. But those guys at the top of the roster aren't playing much in the preseason. Maybe for us it's a little bit different because we haven't really seen too much from Justin Fields yet, right? We haven't seen a lot from Cole Kmet, at least in the way they want to use him in the offense. So our guys may get a little bit more run in the preseason than the next team that may be a little bit more built than us, but I'm excited for it to start, and we are, a month out from the real season starting and chaos hopefully not ensuing?
Yeah, I got an idea how they're going to use Cole Kmet. So big point that they were making to all their pass catchers was you need to be attacking off the ball so that the defenders can't tell if you're coming to block them or you're coming to run past them. And they're going to use him right up the seam a ton this year.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like, is he coming to hit that linebacker or is he going straight by the linebacker? As long as they're coming off the ball explosive all the time, like that, they're going to try to use that to their advantage a lot with play action and getting him the ball up the seam, which I'm excited about.
Well, and if you look at his college tape, that's how he was used at Notre Dame. Ian Book, I mean, loved him as a college QB, but he's not, a world beater. He's not going to throw the ball down the field. Well, so a lot of
not yet.
Not yet, yeah. Well, I mean, I heard Jameis went down in practice today, so maybe he'll get some more burn this year in the preseason. But I think if you use him in the seam like he was used in college, especially in the red zone, like in the red zone against a linebacker, I don't care that it's limited space. Put the ball up, he'll go up and get it.
I like the sound just because he's not a dynamic athlete in the sense of where he's going to be cutting on a dime and hitting his, his corner route, his in, his out that cleanly.
Yeah.
But you're just asking him to run in a straight line. He can do that very well. I mean, he's gifted in a straight line.
Who is better at running in a straight line, him or Christian Watson?
Probably Christian Watson because that was like a 4.3 something.
I don't know, man. If it's the only line that you can run in, I think I got to give it to Cole because Cole can run, the in and out, the zig, the zag, the fade. Cole can do it all. He's not just a one-trick pony. So, but here, actually, let's lead the show off with this because if there's one thing all Bears fans can rally around, it's making fun of Aaron Rodgers and just Aaron Rodgers is a weirdo. But apparently, in the offseason, instead of training, Aaron Rodgers was smoking DMT, which I understand is a hallucinogen, and drinking I don't know how to pronounce it.
Ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca tea. Now that sounds like another hallucinogen.
Emptying his bowels.
I don't know what this man is doing. I mean, you could tell when you look at him, he looks beat up.
Hey, he went to Cal Berkeley. Okay.
But I don't know. Imagine if this guy was doing what Tom Brady does in the offseason or had a non-DMT offseason. Maybe it's brought his play down a little bit, but he's still an MVP. But I'm just wow. And for him to come out and say it is the most Aaron Rodgers thing of all time because it's always me, pay attention to what I have to say. He's always in the news about something.
So I have a little bit of a thought on that. Just seeing some of the pictures of him, he looks he's slimmed down. He looks like he's pretty skinny.
couple ramen
And I
weeks
don't
in there for
know.
Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I'm just curious to see how he holds up
Yeah.
taking hits. Like he looks a little smaller than he used to be. But then again, when I think back to his camp entrance where he was trying to be Nicolas Cage, he didn't look that skinny, so it might have just been the clothes. But like maybe there's a small part of me that's thinking he might get injured.
Yeah, and it's like, he drops a bag outside of Lambeau Field and they cut a promo video for it. I drop a bag outside of Lambeau Field and I'm in the back of the paddy wagon. So different strokes for different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
But
just to be clear too, I'm not hoping injury on him. I would never hope injury on any player.
But it's he knows how to get away from hits, and he's a slimy little bastard back there in that pocket, dude. I don't know how to explain it, but I thought it was something to mention because it's like, wow, like this guy is on a different level of weirdo. And
I thought you were gonna say a different level of being.
Well, human, yeah, also a different level of being, but just like, what the fuck, dude? But on the Bears front, there are injury news, which comes with the game, but at a position that is a position that we talked about last week, a position we were really excited to see in these preseason games, getting live snaps in the ones or the twos, whether you're getting, passes from Fields or our lineage of great backups that we have on the roster. But I am coming here to say today that N'Keal Harry is out for 6 to 8 weeks, and Quintin brought it up when we were talking before the show. This could potentially prevent him from even making the roster because we were kind of just taking a flyer on him. And then the second injury was Byron Pringle. He will be out until you said the first week of the regular season, or
he might be back for. I think they said he should be back for the first game, but they didn't give a specific timeline on it because I don't think they have to yet. But I think it sounded optimistic, like he'll be back for the regular season, but I don't know how much we'll see him in preseason.
Well, he wanted to play this game because it's up against the Chiefs, but unfortunately his body had other thoughts. And honestly, I think Pringle, with the injury to Harry and not knowing what we're going to get for Harry, even though he's hurt in the preseason, I still think he is going to get between 30 and 50 catches in this offense. 50 is like everything goes right for Byron Pringle, but I still see him as being a contributing part of this offense, whether it's coming out of the slot or in the red zone. I don't know why, but I do know why. He caught a lot of touchdowns in Kansas City, but that's because he had Patrick Mahomes throwing it, and he also had a lot of other great receivers around him, which attracted the good attention. So he was getting favorable matchups. He won't get as favorable matchups in Chicago, but I think that's going to be a testament to see how he can grow with our offense and as a player in the NFL. So it sucks we're not going to get to see him in the preseason, but I'm still excited for what we can get from Pringle in this offense in the regular season.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to see how much Equanimous St. Brown plays.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it can go one of two ways. Either he's going to play a lot or he'll barely play at all because they're scared of another receiver near the top of their depth chart getting hurt. I don't expect to see Mooney out there. I don't expect to see Velus Jones play much because he's dinged up too. They said he's day to day, but I don't think they're going to risk him getting more dinged up with too many snaps, if any.
Yeah,
so it'll be interesting to see how much they put guys out there. And the O-line is going to be good to watch, too, because
there's some battles,
Yeah.
But the preseason is so much different than, what we watched, like, growing up. Like, you remember it would always be, like, the first week would always be, like, starters would start, play, like, the first series or the first quarter, and then it would rotate. It was almost like the unspoken rule of the preseason, how the play was being divided up. You know what I'm saying? Like by week 3, you would already see your starters for the last time. And then week 4 was just like watching a USFL game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I also am interested to see, who gets played and how long they get played. Obviously, the most important thing is to get everybody off the field in the same manner they came onto the field. But yeah, I want to see, I don't know, maybe at least a quarter and a half from Fields, like maybe up to halftime week first, because the Chiefs, even with all, their starters not starting, they still have depth on their defense. defense. It's still, a good scheme to play against. And I think keep Fields in the pocket, tell him, scramble. If you scramble, you are running out of bounds. You know what I'm saying? You're not, or
you're not getting your helmet knocked off again.
Even this, use it as practice to slide or practice for his slide, because he's not great at sliding. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what type of injuries you can get from a slide, but I'm sure it could be like a knee, an ankle, anything. Get like 2 slides in. So I don't know.
We want you to take your 5 steps, then roll right and slide out of bounds.
Dude, I can't wait to see I cannot wait to see an offense that utilizes a Justin Fields rollout. Like, it's going to be a different animal. Yeah. And I've already talked myself into us winning week 1, but that's in a month, and that previous show is in like 24 days, so we won't cloud your ears with that. But I think it's the perfect type of team to match up against in week 1 of the preseason. It's not like, we got the Jets or like the Houston Texans or the Jaguars. It's a team that is well-rounded at every position, and no matter who is out there for them, it's going to be good battles for our players.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. Like I said, I'm excited to watch the O-line play, watch what combinations and what guys are doing good, doing bad. And I really have no idea under this new way they're doing it with only 3 games, how much you're going to see starters in week 1 of the preseason versus week 2 versus week 3. Like, is week 3 going to be a game where no starters play, like week 4 used to be, and week 2 is going to be when you're getting the most reps out of your starters? Or I'm interested to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, no, I think at least for this game, like I said, we'll probably see Fields, a lot more Herbert than Montgomery. We'll see some Monty, maybe the first quarter, give or take. But also, we're going to see a lot of Treston Ebner. You're going to see a lot of Braxton Jones, I think, on the line. I think on the defensive side, the kid from Miami, I can't think of his name at the moment, but the defensive lineman that we got out of Miami of Ohio this year.
Oh, Dominique Robinson.
Yeah, Robertson, yeah.
You said Miami, my head went
the
turnover chain.
No, man, Miami to me is the Maction, baby. Which, oh my God, I am so excited to get that back as well. College football starts even sooner than the NFL. So, but yes, I think with this preseason, just figure out our offense. Most importantly, like, when we have those first unit guys out there, we need to be running important sets and important plays that we're going to want to utilize in the regular season. I don't want to just see fucking three step drops and Fields putting into Montgomery or into Herbert's gut. Like, I want to see some interesting exotic pass routes and packages that we will utilize this season.
Well, I think you might be disappointed. I'm sorry.
But dude, that's what life is as a Bears fan. You know what I'm saying? So, like, why not prime my body with the preseason with us just handing it off the entire preseason? I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's going to be very vanilla and just about it. Because I think, really, I think it's at the point with NFL preseason where the defense is so vanilla. Yeah. It's hard to even see what benefit you're getting from running real stuff against it, other than just letting the league know what you want to do.
True.
So I think it's more about just finding rhythm throws, getting these guys getting in and out of the huddle to the snap to a throw in rhythm on time. Hitting the receiver where he's supposed to on the right foot of his drop. Like, it's just that the timing and the rhythm of everything is really what I think it's beneficial for when it's this vanilla, and getting hit.
Just that first hit pop, of the year. First pop always. I remember that in football. That first time you get hit for the year. Woo. But yeah, I'm excited, man. I will probably sit there, watch the game, and then rewatch it later in the day. But because this is the time of the year where we all get to play coach or GM, and especially us with the show where we'll probably sit here at the end of the preseason and, like we did at the beginning of the preseason or training camp, pick our 53-man roster. I don't know if we'll Well, yeah, we'll go player by player. We'll pull up the graphics and stuff. Why
Do
not?
something like
Yeah.
that.
But other than that, offensively, I think the offensive line has the most to prove this week. Justin Fields is going to have the most to prove week in and week out of every week of all season. But defense, I've heard from what I've seen also in training camp and what I've heard from the radio and the other media, well, the media personalities and members, is that the defense has looked like a well put together unit and a unit that is gelling even without Roquan.
Yeah, I can see that. I still have concerns about the D line, and those won't be answered till we're watching, the preseason games at least, because it's just, I think it's hard to judge run defense and running offense in training camp because no one's going all out to hit their own guy. That they're not attacking the same way.
Bobby Boucher out there.
Yeah, and that's what running the ball and run defense is. It's attack. Yeah. It's all out attack on either side of the football, and no one is sitting there in camp going all out attack on their teammate, or most guys aren't.
Well, yeah. So here's a question for you: when you played football, what position did you play?
O-line.
O-line. So yeah, you don't know, because I played defense, and it's like I gotta go hard, but we can't have friendly fire. But we also can't lose practice because I'm not running extra sprints for this shit. So it's a tough line to teeter on. You know what I'm saying? But especially at the NFL, running as fast as they do and hitting as hard as they do, it's got to be even harder than my 5'8" ass trying to pull up and not hit my running back. You know what I'm saying? So I can only imagine what it's got to be thud or like rap. Like I haven't been to training camp in a few years, but I would assume it is some variation of the bear hug, no pun intended. But other people that I want to see good things out of in this game, so the new members of the secondary on the defensive side of the ball. Like I said, we don't know what we'll see in terms of length in the game, but from Jaquan Brisker and from Kyler Gordon, I want to see good use of the hands. I want to see good footwork. And I mean, honestly, putting the meat on the table, I want to see a turnover from one of the two. I'm not going to say from each because that's just absurd. Like, obviously, Chad Henne and Dustin Crum aren't going to be throwing an air raid offense against us. But I would like to see maybe a forced fumble or an interception from one of our new members in the secondary that are both rookies. So that's like that'll be my bold prediction for this weekend. Do you have a bold prediction for the game?
Well, I was going to say on your point, my money's on Brisker. Dude plays for the lights, man. He shows up in
points bet. I'm hitting you up for that plus 1,000 over 0.5 turnovers caused by Jaquan Brisker this weekend.
And bold prediction, player of the game is your guy Chris Fink.
Oh yes, Finky! Oh, I forgot about Fink, man. I saw a picture of him in camp the other day. So yeah, Bears fans, before we get started with this preseason, let me warn you that this guy is going to be the preseason heartbreak guy because everyone is going to fall in love with him. He's a very talented football player. I mean, I think I said it on this pod. I shed a grown man tear on senior day when I was there at Notre Dame for him. Like, he was fucking what Notre Dame is all about. He's basically like a real life Rudy. You know what I'm saying? And he's going to catch a couple touchdowns. Like, he's going to have some nice catches. I ultimately think, like, he'll end up being a practice squad guy. I don't think he'll be an active roster guy, but I'm so glad you brought that up. Think going for a huncho this week.
You remember how down Bears fandom was when Tanner Gentry didn't make the team?
Yes, it's going to be that
very
level.
Similar with Chris Fink.
Oh, I mean, yeah, he's got the flow. He's like 5'8". It reminds me of what was the movie with Mark Wahlberg, Invincible? Like, it's like that. It's like, fuck, we got to put him on the team. We could throw him out there on kickoff or punt. That's one thing that I think will help him. He's a punt returner and a kick returner as well. He does have a lot under his belt at Notre Dame. Like, he spent a few years doing that and was pretty elusive. And I don't know where he ranks on the team because the Bears, if there's one position that we're stocked up at, is guys that can run those punts and kicks back. Like we have quite a few
anything
guys.
Special teams, they've really focused in on that this offseason on getting special teamers.
Even this, so all right, let's throw tinfoil hats on to get Chris Fink on the roster. He could be a gunner, dude. I mean, if Josh Bellamy was our gunner and for 5 years, you know what I'm saying? Like at receiver, he could be a gunner. He's a little undersized, but you're gonna get that effort from him.
I remember reading somewhere that being a gunner, like you want your fastest player who is capable of doing it at gunner, because it's all about how fast can you get to the punt. You know, that's why Bellamy was good at it. That's why Cordero was good at it, because they could just flip the switch and they were gone.
Cordero Patterson's also just like built like an avatar. Like
exactly.
Like
you couldn't really block him, and then he was just gone the second you like stop.
But if you think about it, like I know we alluded to it a little bit last week, but like think about Sherrick McManus's career, right? Like he was a gunner for 10 plus years on this team. You know what I'm saying? So there's an avenue. There's money to be made for sure.
But I'm pretty sure Velus Jones already has one of the gunner spots locked up.
Velus Jones is probably third on the depth chart at safety, like the reserve emergency safety.
Oh my shoot! I'd give him a shot.
And one thing, it's going to be frustrating because we have to
next man up, man.
We have to watch Nathan Peterman and Trevor Siemian in this game. So
so you know, when we were talking about getting that first hit out, it got me thinking. Like, as a quarterback, you literally have not gotten hit since the last game you played.
Yeah.
So I just looked it up. Nathan Peterman has not been hit since last October.
He's coughing one up for sure, buddy. I'm already I can already see, I'll use my phone as an example, like the ball just falling out as he goes to throw. But holy shit. Yeah,
I never thought of that, because all through camp they don't take a single hit, you know?
It's going to be a very fun, first quarter, maybe leak into the second quarter, and then, yes, vanilla offense with our two awful backup quarterbacks. And also, I did see you know how Twitter just shows you pictures based on your likes. I like football pictures, so it showed me Colt McCoy's tweet. He's still kicking too, and that brings me to our next guy. That's the still kicking guy of the week. Chad Henne is who we will probably see a majority of. Chad Henne and Dustin Crum at quarterback for the Chiefs this week. So it's going to be a battle of just straight mid at the quarterback position, because we'll get a little bit of Fields. Maybe they'll put in Jackson Mahomes, but not Patrick. And
I think Nagy might take some snaps for him.
Dude, you know how in baseball there's the honorary first pitch? Could you imagine if they did the honorary first snap and they threw Nagy out there for one play, ran low, and they would run a curl route.
Oh yeah.
Sure. It would literally just be it would be 4 receivers wide, all hitches. So that's one thing too that we haven't talked about yet too. So it's a preseason game, so it's not really a revenge game. But fuck Matt Nagy, I don't want to see that offense cross the 50. I don't know. I don't even know what his exact title is in the Chiefs organization, but I know it's probably an offensive assistant, or
I think he's QB coach.
Oh yeah, so. Up my bold prediction to 2 turnovers, both picks, 1 for each, because I want him going through hell on Saturday, even though it's a preseason game, because Matt Nagy caused us an infinite amount of pain.
Yeah, I'm here for it, man.
So I see your name this week, so I gotta ask you, what type of bear is Matt Eberflus?
I'm going with Grizzly, I think.
Grizzly.
He just seems like grizzled, you know. I don't have a good rationale here. I don't know bears well enough. That's why I'm asking, actually, because I'm genuinely curious.
All right, so I'll go Panda Bear. And right now I'm going to go Panda Bear because we don't really know what he's capable of. He could be a sleeping giant, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He could be what we need in Chicago. Or he could just go back to taking a nap and being a defensive coordinator somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, could he be a legendary panda, like the Kung Fu Panda, or like could he be the Panda Express? We don't know. That could be a title
Orange
for this
chicken.
episode, dude. Don't get me started. I get the orange chicken, the Beijing beef, and then I just twirl the chow mein like spaghetti because I'm just a scumbag human being.
Okay. Here's a question for you.
Go ahead.
Favorite Bears preseason star of all time?
I'm not going to say what everyone thinks I'm going to say with Tanner Gentry because that would be too easy. But this is a tough one, dude. All right, this is a weird one because he did end up. Does it have to be someone that like did make the roster?
They could have made it eventually, but like, yeah, they had, or like just someone who you saw in training camp or like preseason, you were like, that's a dude. And they never became a dude.
Oh, okay. So this one. And this is a Bears Twitter one that is of the most few recent years. But I even wrote an article at the very beginning of my on-tap career when we drafted him, and we didn't really see much out of him. But one guy most recently is Riley Ridley. Like, I didn't think he was going to be Julio Jones or anything, but I thought, I even went to training camp, dude. I'm pretty sure my Bears hat that I wear, he signed that shit. Like, I remember watching him in practice. Like, he was an imposing figure. He had size to him. He had speed. He had all the intangibles. But, I mean, I don't even know. He's not even on the roster anymore. Like, where is he on the roster? I don't even know where the fuck Riley
he got released.
I don't even know where Riley was. While you figure yours, I'm going to locate Riley Ridley because I know he's not suspended. But
so mine's got to be Mark Bradley, wide receiver.
Oh, yeah.
I remember. And he was like a second-round pick or something. I think he was second or third round. But, like, I remember he would always have him and, the NBA player Malik Monk?
Yes.
His older brother was a Bears training camp wide receiver. And those two, I was like, one of them's going to make it. One of them's going to be the dude. Because they kept doing well in preseason games.
Yes.
Was it 2007, maybe 2006? And they just, neither of them ever did anything.
And I also, since you did a duo, I'm going to add another one to this because it's another guy that literally set a fucking record for preseason receiving yards, but would rather punch people in the face. Javon Wims, also part of that same regime in Matt Nagy. Both receivers came from Georgia, too, if I'm not mistaken. Both Georgia guys.
Yeah.
Roquan panned out. But if we're going to only hit on 1 out of 3 guys that we get from Georgia, I'm sorry, I'm just not going back down.
You got Leonard Floyd in there too, so that's like 1 out of
1.5. Yeah, fucking Christ, dude. Why couldn't we just draft Stafford and instead we let him go to the Lions? But yeah, between those two, I think especially more Wims, maybe more so than Ridley, especially because the production was there. He had all those catches and receiving yards in the preseason. Just like, how did neither of these guys pan out? And I think before we wrap up, like, as much as we give the quarterback position slack as a Bears player, the receiver position historically has not been good either. Like, when you look at the receiver position, and if you're, for all intents and purposes, let's craft the Bears top 5 just for today's show. So, we can each go one by one. So I'll go first. At 5, like the 5th best receiver in Bears history. Like, this is such a nasty list to even have to craft. But at 5, I think you got to throw him on the list. Marty Booker. Like, Marty Booker's up there at 5. I think.
Yeah. So are we going to say like post merger?
Yeah. Post 85.
Okay. Because, Booker's definitely up there. Booker has among receivers post-merger, the 3rd most receiving yards of any Bear.
That'll play. How many touchdowns?
Let's see. 25 touchdowns. I'm not sure where that ranks, but I mean, honestly, I think you got to throw Brandon Marshall in there. He's not one of the top 5 in receiving yards, but he was here for so short.
Yeah.
You know,
But
it's
what
like,
he brought,
three
but what he brought
seasons.
on Sunday, though, you knew
Yeah.
you were going to get a lot from him.
Then you probably got Allen Robinson. Again, it wasn't that long, but he was really good for the first 2 years.
Yeah.
Then, so Willie Gault's probably just outside those guys.
Yeah.
So
Different
Willie
time.
Gault's like
Different
6.
time in the NFL. Yeah, different time in the NFL. It's not his fault. He played in the 80s.
And the final 2 come down to Curtis Conway and Alshon Jeffrey. Conway was back in the 90s. He was good.
Conway was good. I remember him a lot growing up, and I also remember him because he was like the one receiver that you got in NFL Blitz. It was like Curtis Enos, Jim Kramer, or Eric Kramer. I'm sorry, I said Jim Kramer, and then Curtis Conway. But then,
do you know who the Bears' 2 leading receivers and catches are all time?
Okay, so is
players?
One of them Mike Ditka?
Mike Ditka is 6th in receptions.
Okay. All right. So maybe I was about to say it's another M. Is it Marcus Robinson? Did he play here for that long to get that many catches? No. Okay. I'm stumped.
No. Walter Payton is number 1 on the Bears in catches. You know who's number 2?
Matt Forte.
Boom, nailed it.
We're such a shitbag organization, dude. I hate us. I hate us, dude. We can't even put together a proper list. So yeah, to say,
you know where they are in receiving yards
all time at receiver or at running back.
Peyton is 4th, or not at run, just receiver, tight end, or running back.
Oh wow.
Peyton is 4th in receiving yards, and Forte is 7th in receiving yards.
See, and Matt Forte never really got the respect he deserved in the NFL because he played for such an unserious franchise. You know what I'm saying?
2 guys who do deserve our mention is pre-merger Johnny Morris and Harlan Hill. Incredible receivers.
Yeah.
But way before our time.
Yeah, no. I mean, I wasn't even a thought at the time. But, yeah it's
my parents were barely a thought at the time.
It's nasty because you talk about a position on the Bears like linebacker or even the secondary position like safety or corner, and there's history at those positions. There's players that you can look to and say those were all-time greats. Quarterback and receiver, I mean, in the Hall of Fame scheme, not really. But for us, you look at a guy like Jay Cutler, and you know what I'm saying. It's like that's the best we've ever had. I don't know. I would really like for Fields to turn out to be the guy. I don't think any of the receivers on the current receiving core, with the exception of Darnell Mooney and maybe Velus Jones, if he can become something better than what we thought he would be. But it's just one of those things where there's no surprise when we're getting roasted all summer long by the national media because we're rolling out what we roll out a receiver. But
yeah, you ready to get hurt?
Yes.
So the Bears' all-time leader in catches has 492 receptions. All-time leader in yards has 5,059 yards. Greg Olsen in Carolina has 524 receptions.
In Carolina only?
And 6,463 yards. In Carolina only. So Greg Olsen's production in Carolina surpassed both Bears records for receiving, catches, and yards.
And remember, he wasn't good enough to play tight end. They wanted him to play receiver.
They want to play. They want a blocking tight end.
Yeah. They're jag-offs. I mean, even now they can't figure out what they want to do at tight end with all the extra guys that they carry. That's one position that we always just stockpile people. But to close out this week's show, I know wins and losses don't matter, but do you have a score prediction and a game prediction for this weekend's matchup? It's the preseason, Bears. So it's gotta be an unethical. It's gotta be like a score down score, you know.
Bears 19, Chiefs 25.
Oh, that's such a stinky score. 25-19. Okay. That's a lot of points for a preseason game. I think it's more like 19-17 Bears. I think the Bears somehow win.
Oh, they definitely can.
Yeah, I think it's like it probably means a little bit more for us to try and win a preseason game because we're the team that needs all the extra work and a lot more than the Chiefs do. But yeah, like I said, not about wins and losses. Like go out there, execute. Get, like Quintin said, get used to getting back in the huddle. Get used to hitting people. That aren't wearing the same jersey as you, and get the timing of it all right because that's the one thing you see at the beginning of an NFL season is teams are out of sync and their timing is off. And if your timing doesn't get up till week 4, your season's not getting up and running until week 4.
Yeah.
So that's some of the things that I really want to see this week. We'll be back with you guys next week to recap the game against the Chiefs and then take a look ahead to the week 2 matchup in the preseason. But other than that, I got nothing else for you guys. Stay tuned to On Tap Sportsnet for written work from our Bears On Tap contributors throughout the week when breaking news occurs. And then obviously stay tuned to our Twitter page for the show. And then obviously we love our listeners on YouTube and Facebook as well. We got nothing else for you guys, and bear down.
Bear down.